started writing letters back, and the letters were trying to tell their story of what was happening to them. And so we started posting those letters, and they got so numerous that it became a book. And that book is called Letters from Prison, and it's used to basically help support the families and the defendants of January 6th to get them through what looks to be a pretty big pogrom of conservative thought and supporters of Donald Trump. And the second book, the first book covered an entire year from September of 2021 through September of 2022 in these people's lives as they were trapped inside the gulags of America. And you wonder what a gulag is. Well, it's like the worst prison environment you can think of, where you may be a prisoner, but you have no rights. And that's what's been happening to these folks. And unfortunately, we're in our almost 2.5 years, and the story continues. Their letters continue to come out. They continue now to tell the story of their sentencing and the misbehaviors of the justice system. Basically just, it's hard to listen to. It's hard to read because you don't want to believe this is happening in America. You don't want to believe that good American citizens, maybe the person you go to church with, maybe the friend who owns the pizza house down the street, maybe the people you played golf with, or maybe even served with, since 27% of the original arrestees were veterans. Their stories are real, and it's hard to understand how this can happen to ordinary Americans simply for doing what the Constitution guarantees them to do. And so we felt that not only did this message have to get to America, because these guys quit writing to Dear Tim and Dear Mr. Rivers, and they started coming in, Dear America, Dear American Patriot, Dear Patriot Family. And so it wasn't my mail anymore. It had become America's mail. And America wasn't getting it because the mainstream media will never speak of this. They will not tell you of the horrors of what goes on in these prisons, or the degradation of the families, or the bankruptcy, or the losing of the homes. And I mean, it's a tragic story. And so the second book is just like the first book. The proceeds go to help these people. And we're coming up on the holidays. I want you to imagine, ladies and gentlemen, that you're sitting at home and, the door breaks in, a bunch of mass FBI guys come in, they point guns at everybody, they haul your breadwinner away, and they don't come back. And then now you have children and a home to support, and when the holidays come, this is really hard, because not only are you missing the person who maybe means the most to you and your family, the husband or the mother of your children, but you're also experiencing a financial degradation from this incredibly corrupt legal system that justice has become in America. How many of you guys right now have $50,000 in your sock drawer to hire an attorney to protect you should the government decide they didn't like what you said? And so this is why the book is there. This is what the message is. We're trying to bring Americans to the reality: if you do not do something for these patriots who stood up for us that day, you will be next. And you can go to the PatriotMailProject.com, which was how I started writing to these prisoners. Find somebody in your state, write to them, tell them who you are, just tell them a little bit about everyday life. Stay connected to America, to normality. And if the mood feels right, we are holding a Christmas project to support families and these children. And you can go to, PatriotMailProject.com, join our Christmas project. Be an angel for a patriot or a child of a patriot who's suffering what appears to be a pogrom against conservative thought in our country.
We have got Tim Rivers with us today. The website is lettersfromprison.us, and he joins us today here on our big program. So what motivated you to start all this?
It was so simple. God, it was so simple. I wrote a letter. I went to the Patriot. I'd been in election integrity. I've been knocking on doors, verifying voter rolls. I was freaking horrified that almost 50% of the houses I was checking had something wrong with their voter roll or with that vote for that year. And so it became very clear that the people of January 6th had gone there for a damn good reason, and too bad I wasn't there as well. Well, maybe not, because I might be making this call from a jail cell instead of my car. But the reality of it was is that now I understood that really there was a big reason for people to be there that day, and for them to be persecuted, well, that was wrong. So I just went to the Patriot Mail Project. I just randomly chose somebody, and I wrote them, and the letter I got back destroyed me. What do I mean by that? I was very comfortably retired. I'm a retired IBM executive and engineer. I was doing what engineers and executives do when they don't work anymore: putter in the yard, play golf, go fishing. And this just threw me completely out of my life. I guess this is what I do now. I talk to people about this. I write to them. I write to the prisoners. Yesterday I visited Jeremy Brown, a retired Green Beret hero. He was the poster boy for the U.S. Army for Special Forces, and he sits in a jail here in Florida. Again, charged with ridiculous, trumped-up charges, and all because he refused to be an informant for the FBI against the Oath Keepers. And this is how this regime is treating those who refuse to either become part of their traitorous plan or simply tell the truth about what's been happening. And so that's how I got started. The letter I got back was from a 22-year retired Green Beret Special Forces. He'd been a Ranger for 4 years. He had 3 Bronze Stars. He'd never been arrested in his life. He went there that day to protect the speakers who were going to be in the permitted speeches that had been planned around the Capitol that day, and was swept up in the violence and tried to protect people. Actually, he was near Roseanne Boyle. He was in that mess, which resulted in people dying, beaten to death by the police. And for that, he's been in prison since March of 2021 without trial. And I don't just mean any prison. I mean some of the worst ones in this country. The D.C. Gulag, where there's sometimes no running water, where the toilets don't work, where black mold blows out of the air conditioning ducts and comes out of the faucets, where basically the pods that they were housed in had been abandoned because they were unlivable. This is how the government is trying to threaten you, Mr. and Mrs. America, to shut up and sit down. And if you do not look at what's happening to them and realize that your silence is a complicity that will guarantee that one day it could happen to you or to your children or to your grandchildren, then you are missing an opportunity to save this republic, because we are definitely in jeopardy.
We have got a great guest with us today. Tim Rivers joins us. Lettersfromaprison.us. So what has been the reaction to this, my friend?
Well, I put a book in the hands of every member of Congress. I want to tell you, that was a fantastic task. I had an amazing group of patriots who were brave enough to go into D.C., the capital of corruption, walk through the halls of Congress, walk into every senator and every House of Representatives office, and hand deliver a copy of this book and talk to them about prison reform on January 6th. And we only got thrown out of one office. And so none of your representatives can ever say that they do not know. I'm going to give you a phone number. Get your pencil. 202-224-3121. That is your congressional switchboard. You have a congressman responsible to you for what happens in government. Give them a call and tell them to release these hostages. Get involved before it's too late for all of us. And I urge you to be an angel, to be a patriot, a friend to these other people who are suffering, in many cases, really with no reason at all. What you'll read in their letters, I guarantee you're going to be crying, so I apologize right now. But what you read in their letters will basically, I hope, do what it did to me. It turned me into mild manner retired into Furious Tim, which is the moniker they give me in the blogs. And I hope there's a Furious Bob, a Furious Jane, a Furious Johnny. I hope all of you read these letters and have that patriotic gene in you awakened and come to the rescue of this republic, or we will never be able to have our children and our grandchildren be free people.
We've got Tim Rivers with us today. He joins us live. Lettersfromprison.us is the official website. Go over and check that out today. So, what is next for you with all this, Tim?
Well, you've just seen, finally, the Speaker of the House, or the new Speaker of the House, or the third Speaker of the House to be involved in this tragedy, has begun to release the videos, and they're slow-walking them out. What we are doing at this point is trying to decide and to build a mechanism to eat the elephant. 45,000 hours of video, and that does not include the MPD body cams which are in some cases more important than the house CCTV cameras because they have audio. And that all of that information is a massive undertaking to go through it, to sift through it, to find that one piece of video that will exonerate a defendant or will disprove a prosecution's false claim or will blow this narrative out of the water for the rest of the American public. And so we basically we're looking for volunteers. We need hundreds of videographers. We need support teams and project, and we need funding. And we're not even sure how that's going to happen, but I guarantee you it is going to happen. Because as long as the people that I've been working with, these amazing patriots who, like me, just put down their shovels of the day and came to this front line of freedom to try and save our country, they will not give up. And I will not give up. And I urge all of you to not give up, to never surrender this country to the socialist demons who want to take it over today, and to stand for freedom. And so that's my next task is just what I'm doing now. I keep writing letters. I keep collecting them. I keep publishing them. God forbid I have to write a third book. But I urge you to at least go to the letters from prison, look at the first 14 pages. I let you look at them for free, read the letters, understand what's happening to these people. The second book is called The Art of Confinement. And it is even more heart-wrenching than the first. The genius that is coming out of these men in prison is the antithesis of what the government wanted. They wanted to take these people like pieces of coal and grind them into dust. And instead, they've created the hardest diamonds ever seen. And I think everybody can be that hard. I think everybody can be that American that this country needs at this time. You simply have to look into yourself and awaken that spirit. And if we do not do that, if the majority of us do not come to the aid of our country now when it needs us most, I find a picture of your child or your grandchild or even your great-grandchild. Look at it very closely. And then try and imagine in your mind how you're going to explain to them that you let this country fall.
We have got a great guest with us today. Tim Rivers is with us, lettersfromprison.us. Well, Tim, keep up the good work. You're doing some amazing stuff. I think this is an incredible project. Thanks for making some time for us today, coming on our big program and chatting with us. You're just amazing, my friend. I just love the fact that you're making all this work, my friend.
Well, we can all do something here. Everybody's got a skill that they can bring to the table. Everybody just needs to get involved. And thank you so much for letting me speak to your audience today. I hope everybody has a great holiday. And remember, America, don't do nothing.
I appreciate it, brother. Thanks for making some time for us. Thanks for coming on and chatting. And we will talk to you soon. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, partner.
Appreciate it, fam. There he goes. Tim Rivers with us today.